Hello everyone, Kyle from Deluxe Collectibles here, and welcome to Masters of Brickjitsu. Today we'll be doing a ranking of all of the villains from LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising. I hope you all go on to enjoy this video. Keep in mind as well, this ranking is only representative of my own opinions on these villains and not every member in Masters of Brickjitsu. But with that out of the way, let's get started. Number 7. Here we've got Jordana, a famous pyrotechnician and a showman in Ninjago. He served as a henchman for both Roz and his superior Beatrix, so definitely serving under quite a few higher up characters in the villain hierarchy. And Jordana's pretty cool. He's got like a very sort of goofy personality where, you know, he kind of wants to be taken seriously, but at the same time the ninja really don't take him that seriously, and he's definitely one of those more like one-off sort of villains who serves as kind of like that henchman level, tries to go out on his own as well, but is never really to the same success of the bigger up villains. So definitely still an interesting character though, with a stellar design. Number 6. Next up here we have the former assistant to Dr. Loro and Sora's self-proclaimed rival, who no one can seem to remember the name of, but I'm pretty sure they go by Jordana. But all jokes aside here, Jordana is actually a pretty interesting character because I feel like there's so much development that she has gone through by being someone to not really take too seriously, definitely someone who we didn't really consider to be that much of a villain per se, just kind of a disgruntled like rival from Sora's past, but now has sort of risen above the ranks here, of course becoming a general of the Wolf Clan and serving underneath Roz. So definitely a character that's gone through quite a bit, and I'm curious to see where they go from here. Number 5. Then we've got Rapon, of course, who served as the former leader of the Claws of Imperium, of course, before they were taken down and Beatrix was overthrown, who of course he kind of helped to make that happen. But Rapon is definitely a really funny character, one of the more goofy ones, and it makes sense leading the Claws of Imperium. He is like that head leader who isn't really got his head screwed on all right, but you know, he's still very funny to watch and definitely a great presence in the series. Number 4. Now we have Dr. Loro, a head scientist working for the Kingdom of Imperium, who of course in the end ends up betraying Beatrix and then gets taken away by the guards as a result of that. But Dr. Loro was still so menacing, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with her prior relationship with Sora in the past. You know, Sora looking up to her and then seeing what's really behind the scenes with how they're treating these dragons and using them solely as a power source with no compassion for them in itself. I think that's just really evil on Dr. Loro's part and definitely puts her higher up on this list. Number 3. Next up here we have Beatrix, of course the Empress herself, the ruler of the Kingdom of Imperium, of course before she's overthrown and taken down by the ninja. But Empress Beatrix is definitely a kind of complex character when you sort of look at her backstory, of course, and how she's trying to overthrow, of course, her family, who is, you know, in charge of the Kingdom of Imperium, specifically her father, and then banishing her twin sister and the rightful heir, Beatrix. So definitely one who's overthrowing the kingdom. You know, it's sort of a story as old as time itself. You only see that in like ancient like stories and stuff like that, more medieval times. So I kind of like how it harkens back to that, but I also like how Beatrix is also willing to get her hands dirty, especially near the end, by using her like giant mech and then fighting against the ninja directly head on. I think that was really cool. So she kind of has a decent balance between both of those elements there for a villain, which I do really appreciate. Number 2. Here we have Cinder, the current elemental master of smoke, serving as a general of the Wolf Clan, and of course Roz had imparted the forbidden teachings of the Forbidden Five to Cinder in order to prepare him to learn how to use Shatter Spin, which of course is a form of spin jitsu that Cinder can perform once they have the Golem and the Mallet of Shattering together. And I think that's so cool because Cinder is really such a physical threat to the ninja. They really aren't able to go up against him too well, at least at the beginning, so he felt like a really threatening force to go up against, and he has a great character character design as well. A really fun sort of attitude as well, which I feel like matches up really well with a Master of Smoke. You know, he's very deceitful, he's very evil and menacing, so it's interesting to see a new take on an Elemental Master and see that passed on. I'd be curious how that ended up happening, but definitely really intriguing character for sure. Number 1. Now we've made it to the top of the list, and I'm sure you could have guessed who would be in the top spot here. It is of course Lord Roz, the leader of the Claws of Imperium. However, of course, after failing to prevent the ninja from freeing the dragons, Imperium had to imprison him for his failures, but then of course he manages to escape, then recruits Jordana and Cinder to assemble the Wolf Clan and begin his own journey toward freeing the Forbidden Five during the ritual of the Blood Moon. So Roz is definitely an intriguing character as well, with a very vast backstory also, which I really love how they're sort of sprinkling in, and then hopefully we'll dive into a bit more because it's definitely, you know, fueling a lot of his goals here. And I think Roz is just also a real physical threat as well on top of Cinder, and I like that too because Roz can hold his own against the ninja. It's not like he's solely using Cinder because he doesn't want to get in a fight himself. He's definitely willing to get his hands dirty against the ninja in this fight, so I really respect that as well. So there's just a lot going on with this character that you can sort of theorize around, and they're just really interesting to follow as a villain. Alright, so that's gonna conclude the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, also subscribe as well to MOB for more awesome content, and let us know in the comments down below your ranking of the villains from Dragons Rising. Thanks so much, and always remember, keep on collecting.